Thank you very much, Peter. I'm sorry for being late, but we had snow for the first time this year. After the second time, typically the Swiss are used to it, but the first time is hard. We had people skiing on the streets of Zurich and Bern, and all the trams and buses were late. Sorry, but now I don't know whether you can see my slides. Yeah, you can see them. Um, I would like to talk to you about the future-proof terms and conditions. Seems to be a boring thing for HR people. Everybody is not satisfied with his or her salary, should be more. This is always also the answer when I'm asking my students here at our university, are you satisfied with your salary? And most of them say yes and no. And if the second question is, could you tolerate to get more salary, then everybody would say yes, of course. But now let's dive a little deeper. And what I show you here on the slide is a feedback from a survey done in 2022. We expect a 24 version soon, but it's not yet ready. It's a survey done on the different generations in actually this is from Germany, Holland, and the UK. And each of the generation representatives have been asked what is important to you in terms of attractivity of an employer. Then you see here, one of the generations, I'm not saying now at this point, I'm not saying which one it is. One of the generations said, okay, this is our top 10. Number one, good salary. Number two, honesty and open communication. Number three, good career opportunity. Number four, openness to new ideas and concepts. Number five, opportunity for further education, professional training. Number six, social commitment. Seven, sustainable action. That's what we just heard from Rudy. Eight, diversity in the workforce. Nine, flat hierarchies. And funny enough, number 10, regular company parties. So we want parties. But it's not meant parties, meant go out for a beer with the colleagues, these kind of things. Now I'm asking you, which generation do you think has put exactly these 10 things as their priorities? And it's funny when I present this slide to different groups, then all claim these 10 priorities for them. I have showed it to a Rotary Club. Most of them are older. They said, it's clear, this is baby boomers. And I presented it to another audience. They said, no, it's clear, this is Generation X. Also, Y is claiming it, and Z. And surprisingly, for all of them, the right answer is these are the top 10 priorities of Generation Z, of the young ones. So they want this good salary, from good salary to regular company parties is their top priorities. And this is interesting because here you see not much has changed, because all the generations are claiming they have those 10 priorities. It means for us in HR, it doesn't make a really good sense to think about special packages or special treatments for the different generations. Actually, there is no good study, no good academic study on whether the differences between the generations in terms of terms and conditions of working are so different. The difference is particularly here in Central Europe, since we have a big shortage of skilled labor, then the young generation knows we are a scarce resource. So it's not, we don't have enough from our generation. So we can place demand. We can say, this is what we want. So the older generation, my generation, I'm 64, my generation, we said we had the same idea, but we were not able to articulate it, because they would have told us, we don't give a shit on what you think is important to you. We tell you what is important because it's what we as employer think. This has changed a little bit. It had changed quite substantially. When we Now look at another very interesting dilemma, which we have combined with the slide before. The question is always, what is fair? And again, background is terms and conditions, meaning how the salary is composed, of which kind of components, the amount of money you earn for your work. All this is in the background. And then you ask people, what is the main thing? What is most important? They say my salary has to be fair. And then my question to the students is, what is fair? And we have four different feedbacks or groups of feedback, types of feedback. One said, it's fair if I earn enough to pay my bills. Second is, it's fair if my performance is being rewarded. Number three says, it's fair because if I compare myself with my colleagues in other companies, then I think I make at least that money what others make in similar companies. And number four is, if I look at my studies, my academic background, all what I have learned, all my diplomas and things, then what I make is fair vis-a-vis my achievements. So those four things. And basically, if you go one step deeper, so in my previous employer, I worked 20 years for Lufthansa. I worked for a philosopher. So the head of HR had studied philosophy in sports. We sometimes talked hours about philosophy. And here's a philosophical dilemma. Because other than peace or wealth or freedom, fairness or justice can be defined in two totally different ways, and both are right. You could say fairness is for everybody the same thing, the same for everyone. This is a complete definition and a valid definition of fairness. You could also say fairness is to each his own. And this gets increasingly difficult in today's times. So in the old times, at least here in Switzerland, but also in Germany and other countries, salaries were more or less confidential. So nobody knew what the others are making. Of course, rumors in the hallways at the coffee machine. Of course, a lot of them, but nobody knew exactly. Now it gets more and more transparent, not everywhere, but some companies already display the target salary in their job advertisement. So I advertise a job. We have 3 to 4 companies I know. Maybe there are many more. Here in Switzerland, you can see in the job advertisement, job ad, you can see we are looking for a controller, and this is what we are ready to pay. So it gets more and more transparent, and then the question comes: is it? Am I treated according to my own, or do they treat everybody the same? Has everybody the same thing? And here we need to have a discussion in HR, and more transparent. What are the reasons? What is the cause? And what is the system behind? So how do we come to your particular salary? Needs to be explained, and even more in detail in the future. And on the last slide, you see the framework. So what we look at in HR is, first of all, of course, the labor market. So if the labor market goes up for experts in IT or experts in AI, of course, at the moment, higher salaries are being paid. So we have to adjust a little bit to this. But also, we have a big debate here in Switzerland on corporate results. So particularly the big ones, so the chiefs, the CEOs, is it fair that they receive so much money for their CEO role despite the companies making losses? So if the company is extremely profitable and makes the shareholders rich, nobody would question that they get a high salary. But if the corporate results are bad, then the executive salaries should be lower. This is an ongoing discussion at the moment. Then, of course, individual performance. That's what I said with the fairness example. It should be according to your performance what you get. But we also have a discussion on internal distribution. That means, what is the difference between the highest paid salary and the lowest paid salary? Is this okay? We had a public initiative, a voting a couple of years ago here in Switzerland, a public voting, whether the difference between the lowest and the highest shouldn't be more than 12 times higher. So the highest paid individual should not have more than 12 times more than the lowest. It was rejected, so the public didn't accept it. But this is an ongoing debate. How big should the difference be? And when I look back to my time in Swissair 25 years ago, that was clear. We wouldn't have a problem showing our salaries and making clear nobody earns more than 12 times more than the lowest. Today, it's different. So the executive salaries have excelled. They have completely left the Earth orbit. And so we have to kind of think about how we can get this back to normal. And the last point, society expectation. This goes back to the corporate results thing. So society expects more transparency. They want more public debate about salaries. What do we pay and what do we pay for? What kind of performance do we reward in our salary system? That's actually my contribution to the future. So we need to be more open, and we need to be more transparent, and that means we have to think deeper and more intensive about the reasons why we pay person A a different salary than person B. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. It was exactly 12 minutes. Hope I could give some impulses for the discussion. Thank you very much.